I just found out my husband has been killing my houseplants with bleach, and after I went in his office space I realized he could be up to something more sinister. I have tons of houseplants and even some that were quite expensive and were gifts from my sister. Within the last 6 months at least a third of my plants have died. I have had houseplants my whole life due to my late mother's own love of them, so I know a lot about plants. The death of the plants didn't seem related to lack of light, or inconsistent watering, or lack of nutrients, or even root rot. They just died very suddenly. I tried to not let it upset me too much because plants die and it was not any of the expensive ones, but that was until now. My sister gave me a 5-leaf Monstera albo-rooted plant for my birthday 2 months ago and it was beautiful. This morning I noticed it had died and I was crying pretty hard about it as I unpotted it and took a look at the roots. I was looking hard at this plant and roots to see if its death was pest-related, and that's when I noticed a smell. I sniffed my potting mix and I smelled bleach. The only other adult person in my home with unlimited and unobserved access to my plants is my husband. I wasn't able to talk to him for several hours, but when I could speak to him I very calmly but very directly asked if he had done something to my plants. He denied it at first. I told him I smelled bleach in the potting mix of the albo my sister had gotten me, and that the only person that could have put it there was him. He caved and confessed. He said he was putting small amounts of bleach into the fertilizer water jugs I prepare. I started crying. I asked him why would you do this? You know I love these plants. Why would you destroy them? He didn't really answer nor did he really apologize. The trust I had in him is absolutely gone. I think maybe counseling can help us, but he is the one that did this, but I'm the one that would have to set up the counseling. The angry part of me just wants to be done with the relationship. I know that might seem overboard, as we are married and share a child, but I feel now that I'm not safe around my husband. Update: my husband won't be welcome in my home anymore and I need to find a lawyer as soon as possible on Monday. I texted him and he admitted again to putting bleach in my fertilizer water. He says it wasn't every jug I ever made, so that explains why it wasn't all my plants dying, but rather only some of them randomly over the past 6 months. His exact words were that I deserved to be knocked down a peg. After the text communication I went home from work early and I entered his office. I usually respect his space absolutely. I don't even go in there to grab dirty dishes. I don't know what I was looking for, but the hundreds of comments saying he was working up to something worse or already was doing something else really worried me. I went in there and I found a drawer full of my daughter's dolls and dollhouse furniture and little toys. I bought her that dollhouse for her 4th birthday last year and she has loved it. She takes such good care of her toys, but something always ends up missing and it's always my husband who notices. He lectures her about keeping track of her things and how he won't let her play with her dollhouse if she keeps losing things. He keeps going till she starts to sob. When I hear this going on I always step in and ask him to go take a break. I just assumed he was losing his cool. I've told him this is not how to deal with this with a kid and he says he just wants her to grow up responsible. I now see it was some weird scheme? Or setup or something? He would steal the stuff and stash it away and point out it was gone to berate our daughter till she cried. My sister and her husband's dad, came over this afternoon and they've changed the locks. I've texted him to tell him he isn't coming back and that he can come on Saturday morning to grab his essential things, but that my brother-in-law and another man would be there to watch.